Hello, I kind of wanted to make a short video on a SketchUp model using Kerkythea Ruby script plugin. So I constructed a very strange object here, and what I'm going to do is export this into Kerkythea. So first things first, I'm going to go to shadows, and I'm going to show my shadows. So it kind of darken things up here. My goal is to create like a night render. So I kind of want to make things, look more like a night render. So I'm going to kind of adjust things here. You can adjust the date and time and things of that nature too. So, but the main thing is I want to export this into Kerkythea because I want to night render it through that. So I hit export model. I'm going to export the geometry. I'm going to export the lights, which I'll probably delete anyhow. Do not want it as clay. It's not photo matched. And I'm going to use the default UVs, new instances. So I hit OK. It's going to save it into a HTML type folder. So I hit save. And it's saying that there's already a folder, and maybe there is, but so it tells me it's successfully exported, and it wants me to open it. Hit yes. So first things first, I'm going to go to View, Adjust, and I want to make this look like the solids render. So here's my solids render. Now, a couple things I should mention right off the bat. In this data listing over here, you've got a sun, okay? So with the sun, let me kind of zoom out. Oh, the scroll wheel will zoom out and zoom in, okay? Wow, where am I? Okay, here I am. If you press and hold both the left and right mouse buttons, you can kind of pan. So let me kind of pan back in. Zoom in, zoom out, kind of, well, it does that. If you scroll down, it zooms out. If you scroll in, it zooms in. So let me kind of pan this direction. If you press and hold the scroll wheel, you can orbit. But what I'm trying to show you is that there's a sun out here. Now you can adjust the sun. If I click on it, it's got the star here. I can kind of adjust it with this wheel here, so I can grip the little sun symbol and kind of move that around different directions, okay? So that's kind of important. You can also adjust the intensity with the slider up above, so I can kind of slide and make it brighter, make it dimmer, okay? Very important. So, but my goal is to kind of work with this. I want to create a night render. So actually, I am probably going to go to the sun and just delete it. Right click on it and press delete. Okay, so there's no more sun. Can't play with that. But I'm going to go to settings, sun and sky. Now, for some reason, the only option I get is Greece. Athens, Greece, okay? But you can play around with the year and the hour, okay, the day of the year. But I simply hit next. In here, I'm going to adjust my sky. I'm going to adjust the sky type. I'm going to use like sky color. And then this color map right here, I'm going to click on that. So I want to do a night render, so I'm going to use a wheel. I kind of want to make it kind of like a bluish color. So it kind of rotates the triangle within the circle. I'm going to kind of make that blue. And then within the circle, I'm going to keep this dark. So I want to keep it on the dark side, not the light side. So I'm going to move this somewhere maybe around here. I want to create a night render. So I hit accept and hit finish. And for some reason it creates a sun again. I'm going to delete that again. Okay, so there's my night render. Again, if you press the left and the right mouse button together and drag the mouse, you get pan. I'm going to zoom in by scrolling up and press the scroll wheel down and drag. This will kind of orbit things around. So the render button is right here. You can render now, and I might just do a quick render just to see what it's like. But before I do, I kind of want to play around with some of the materials that were imported from SketchUp. So let me zoom in a little bit closer, maybe kind of pan down to this kind of angle. First of all, this object here, when I click on it, it becomes yellow. That means it's selected. It's color J01. I'm going to right click on it and edit the material. I cannot apply different materials with the extension I've got. I've got the free version of Kerkythea, but I can edit the material. One of the things I'm going to do is self-luminance. This lights things up. So I'm going to right click on radiance. Right now, the color map just showing black. So I kind of want to lighten that up and bring it over to here. Now, whatever color you choose, that's up to you. Maybe I want it more green. So I'm going to hit accept. Next, underneath that is the power. So let me change that power to maybe a larger number, like for example 200. And you can play around with other things like reflectance, bump mapping, transmittance, okay, how much it absorbs and refracts. But I feel confident here with the radiance turned on, power to 200. So I hit apply changes and close the editor. Okay. Now how you'll know that something took effect is with the render button. In the model, it really doesn't tell, but let me kind of play around. Let me do a few more. These red bulbs here. Let me kind of show you what they are. They're like a, I don't know. I created like little spheres or something. Okay. It tells me that it's color 805. Look for the star. So I'm going to right click, edit that material. Let me add some radiance to that by right clicking. Go to add color. Again, I want to lighten things up. Those are kind of a red, so I might just kind of leave this in the red here. Hit accept. Hit apply and close. So next, I kind of want to see how the render looks, like how it's going to look. So you can either hit start render here or you can hit it here. It doesn't really matter, just that you pick one. So first of all, camera view, I cannot change that. It's just what I didn't create cameras, so I can't really change that. Resolution, I guess that's okay. Let's see what other settings. I cannot change any custom settings. Threads. Now this has to do with your microprocessor. I generally bump mine up to 4. It really depends on the processor you're using. Network settings, I'm not worried about that. So I simply hit OK. And I have to wait. I do have to wait. Now notice in the preview it's starting to render everything. When it gets finished, I can hit image. And this will turn green again whenever it's done. I noticed that it's still processing the render. This might take a moment. I would probably wait for it to finish too. It's kind of stuck where it is until the render finishes. I should mention while this is happening, like you've got other materials in here. For example, stone vein gray. That's going to be these columns here. They were created with the SketchUp model, if you recall. If I actually kind of brighten things up here, it might be a little more obvious. I don't know. This is definitely in a shade. This would definitely be some shaded area, but you know, I just kind of want to mention that. It might be more obvious if I shut shadows off. That's that marble, and you're going to see it also in the Kerkythea model. Other colors as well, so any types of materials you've added in SketchUp gets imported. So let's see. You kind of got to be patient with the render. You just kind of got to let it go. So I might pause this video here in a second until I get the final result, the final image. It looks to be about maybe halfway through. Now keep in mind my sky, my background was very, very dark colored. There wasn't much light, so. But it did kind of have like a bluish kind of hue is what I was after. Just to give it the image of night. Okay, so let's see how it looks as an image. I hit image, and let me resize this window. Let me maximize the window. That's kind of how it's going to look. Notice that it brightened up. It added luminescence to everything coming off of there. Same thing with these bulbs that I created. If I like the image, I can kind of play around. I can play around with the exposure levels, like changing them. Maybe even making them darker than normal. That's really up to you. I'm going to go about 0.5. Let's see how that looks. Oh, okay. That's kind of a nightly image. Gamma, that's a little bit different. That's like a high resolution rate. Let me try 0.5 on that. Ooh, that kind of darkened it up too. Now, for some reason with this trial version, I used the free version. I cannot change darkness or brightness, but if I like what I see, I simply hit save, and I'm going to save this into the file directory. Let me give it a name. I think I called it signs. Whoops. Signs. Okay. And it's going to save as a JPEG. Notice you can save it in different form, but JPEG's default, and that's fine by me. I hit OK. Next, let me go into that folder I created, which was this folder here, and double click on my image. This is how it would look if you were using Photo Viewer. And so there's my night.